All right, we might make a start. So, selamat datang or welcome to our Indonesian study tour for Java and Bali in 2024. So, I'm Boo Haynes, is what the students call me, and this is Boo Haynes. And we also have Boo Jack, who often comes into our classes too. So, we're here to run the evening. We also have some special guests. We'll call them for today, Puck Dylan. We have Boo, Evie, and Boo Mayer, who were on our trip this year. So they'll give you some insight to the study tour that we had today. Um, just double check that everyone can hear me too, Boo, on the online recording. So if we have anything that's been said today and you've forgotten because it's lots of information, you can go back to any of the recording, and we'll also send out the PowerPoint to you. So you'll have the PowerPoint slides, the recording, and of course, just email us if you have any questions. So before we begin, our community of Iona College acknowledge the Wadawurrung people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather and learn. We pay our respects to the elders, past, present and emerging, who nurtured and preserved this land, and recognise their continuing connection to countries, waters and culture. Beautiful. Also, as a Catholic school, we'll pray in the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Be, O Lord, a guiding star above me, a smooth path below me, a kindly shepherd behind me, and a bright flame before me, today, tonight, and forever. Amen. As I said before, please jangan khawatir, please do not worry, as a copy of this PowerPoint will be recorded and the presentation will be shared with you within the next 24 hours. And feel free to take notes. You don't really need to though. And there will be opportunity for a question and answer at the end. Beautiful. Some details to start with. So you can see we have here, we will be leaving on the penultimate week of term 2, so the second last week on the Friday. Students will have to come to school in the morning. They will attend some of the classes. So from period 1 to 4, you'll be very excited attending those classes. But Mr. McHugh said, I want to prevent students missing their learning as much as possible, which we support wholeheartedly. So we will make that work. We'll give you more details about bags, computers, all of those things closer to the date. We also get back, which you'll be excited, parents, to get them back. The 2nd of July, we depart. So it's at night time. So we hopefully get a bit of sleep on the plane. And on the morning, the Wednesday morning, we get back in the early hours. Our location, we go to Yogyakarta, Central Java, Ubud in Central Bali. So we get the, I guess, taste of the Islamic culture in Jogja. It's quite different to what we're used to, which is awesome to have that cultural experience. And then we also get the dominant Hindu religion as well of Bali and get to experience the beauty of Bali as well. What else? So at the moment we're at 4,500 and that's our predicted cost at this stage. And it's looking quite likely, Boo, that that'll stay as is for now, hopefully. And that's inclusive of all airfares with checked baggage, accommodation for 11 nights, transfers, transport to and from entry to activities, attractions in Indonesia, most meals. That's one of our things we kind of tried to change for this one, is to include some more meals from some feedback from our awesome students, to make sure that they're, I guess, getting as enough meals covered as possible so they can spend their money on other things as well. Also, it does include comprehensive travel insurance, which is a big one. So yeah, it does include all the things in case of anything that may occur when we're in there. So you don't need to purchase an individual one. The school has covered that for you within that cost. It does obviously not include the following. So spending money for Indonesia when they're on the ground for some meals, but also for some souvenirs for yourselves if you want a gift. Probably those kind of things will need to have in your thoughts. Also, a SIM card for a mobile phone. We encourage and we really do want all of our students to have a phone over there, purely so they can contact back home to let them know, send some photos through of what they've been doing. Also for us, for safety regulations, which Brew will go over in the next few slides. I think that might be up to that point. Oh, yeah, this is really important. Permissions and contracts. So the permissions will be sent out this week via PAM, which is changing to Simon Everywhere, but it'll be the same for you to do it via PAM like a normal permission. So this will need to be completed by November 20. So it's only a short amount of turnaround in the end, just so we can get the permission side done. So this side includes agreeing to the behavioural expectations, conditions of participations, and the communications agreement. So it's really important you sit down and read this with your young person so they know what I guess you're signing up for, and just to know what they're aware of when they're overseas and our expectations and yours as well, just to keep safe mostly. And so please ensure your medical details are up to date on PAM, because that's what we'll be using when we're I guess getting all of our data ready, getting ready to go to support your young person and you guys as best as possible when we're over there. So we'll rely heavily on your PM data. So that's including, you know, dietaries, medical plans, whether they take medications, all of those things, the ins and outs of that. So an email is going to be sent after this meeting with information about the process. Please, and I'll actually show you that slide of what the email will have in case you've got any questions now about that. And that just tells you first do this, second do this, just to make it really clear cut. So it's not, yeah, I guess after this meeting, you might have lots of questions. You've got a bit of something to follow. And yeah, just complete it by the date. Now, this one is super important, your participant health. So you need to go to a GP with the, so both of you will need to go. There's a few reasons why we need to go to GP. The first one is because every student and the GP will have advice about vaccinations. We can give our own advice, but we're not doctors. So you'll definitely need to go to a GP to source that information. Different GPs are good for different reasons as well. You might find a travel doctor is really handy in this field. I definitely would recommend a travel doctor, but that's up to you and what your family decides on that with that. Also, the big one for us is we need permission also that they can take medication in Indonesia, things like Panadol, Hydrolite, Gastrostop, Imodium, stool softener, laxative, antihistamine, Dermate or equivalent. We won't administer that until we've contacted you first, but it's just so that we actually have permission. As a max school, we must get permission from a doctor, not just you. So to cover us as well. So that's the main thing. A letter for this, so you don't have to get your doctor to write all those individual items out. I've actually created it, so they just need to tick a box to say that you we're allowed to administer that with your permission as well in Indonesia. So that will be attached to the email that I'll send out to you after this meeting, and also it will be located in the PAM permission slip too. So it's all there twice, just in case you don't know where it is or the email, whatever, doesn't come through or you've lost it. Also, prescription medication. Now, that's something that we'll deal with case-by-case basis as well. There are some medications that will be okay just to get a letter from a doctor, but there's others that in Indonesia, they're not, I guess, a legal substance. So we do need to make sure that we've got a letter and quite a few other details about that. And I'll email you individually about those requirements because there's no need for everybody to know about it. I don't think. Boo, do you agree?
And that's why it's so important that your medical information is up to date on PAM. We don't want to send you unnecessary information, but by the same token, please be aware Indonesian customs is very, very strict. Even though we come from Australia with one of the strictest customs systems in the world, they are very strict on medication. If you do not have the right paperwork, okay, going into Indonesia with prescribed medication that is not considered a legal substance in Indonesia, it can create very significant issues. If you have all the right paperwork, we're good to go.
Yeah, let's keep Iona out of the
earlier the better.
Yeah,
let's keep Iona out of the paper and you out of jail.
Yep, I guess I wanted to say before, in Indonesia, you can't drink the tap water. These guys were fine with it. You just get quite used to drinking your drink bottle, brushing your teeth with your water bottle, not having a shower with your mouth open, those kind of things. But yeah, that's just a hygiene.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, so as well as a teacher, I'm a mother of 3 human beings. And so I know that as a parent, your primary concern, after, of course, your young person having the time of their lives, will be their safety. Okay, I assure you that we take this very seriously and we have been through a very rigorous process of creating a thorough risk assessment to support your young person's safety and involvement in this trip. We'll give you the general overview of some of the considerations. I'm not going to give you every aspect of the 70-page document, otherwise we'll be here until the trip begins. But conditions of participation are that you follow our safety instructions at all times. These are non-negotiable, these are requirements. If at school you show us that you are unable to follow instructions, we will remove you from this trip. Okay, because we need to know with 100% certainty that if I say stop, that's unsafe in Indonesia, you're going to do it. Okay, it's non-negotiable. Your safety is non-negotiable. Okay. Like I said, we've done a massive risk assessment. We have to assess the likelihood of things happening and then the consequence should those things occur. And then we do something called applying treatments. which means we put measures in place to try and reduce both the likelihood of that happening and the consequence of that happening. And I can see a couple of nods, so people working in this field and or education know exactly what I'm talking about. If you really want to go through the nitty-gritty details, I'm available to discuss elements of that risk assessment with you if you want to know the sorts of considerations that we've gone through. Main points to consider, okay? The thing that is the likeliest, and touch wood, we were okay this time, are gastrointestinal upsets. You can see we had things like hydrolyte on the list, gastrostop on the list, etc., etc., etc. The medical advice is we would never give gastrostop or Imodium or any of those sorts of things unless there was an imminent requirement for travel. Okay, because the best thing is to just let nature run its course with close monitoring. Okay, so we will become the hand sanitizer fairies before all meals. Okay, we'll give you wipes to clean your phones, all of those sorts of things. Something so simple can really prevent a lot of those tummy upsets. Again, like Boo said, drinking bottled water, making sure you don't swallow half the pool when we go for a swim, all of those sorts of things. And we also ask, just as we do at school, that you're not sharing utensils or drink bottles. Don't eat raw and unwashed food, okay? And like it says there, we'll be making sure that we provide lots of advice as to where to eat, what places are safe, what you're going to look for in terms of picking somewhere to eat. And when we say on the packing list that we require you to bring things like hydrolyte, we're 100% serious. We'll actually be collecting it before the trip because we found this was one of our best preventative measures on the last trip, making sure everyone stayed really healthy the whole way through, was periodically after really hot periods, making sure that everyone had a hydrolyte within sort of a 6-hour period, again, as a preventative measure. Or if students weren't feeling particularly well, that was one of the things we had, along with supervision and rest, to try and bring them back to ready to go. Again, as a parent, my brain goes haywire and I think, what if my child gets lost in a foreign country? Okay, so I have overthought this quite a lot. We will have travel buddies, okay? So no, you don't just get to wander off and do whatever you like, whenever you like. You have travel buddies, don't you? And we are always like, where's your travel buddy? And we'll do 711,000 head counts a day, I promise. Before we get on places, when we're on, when we get off, before we leave, after we get back, all of that, okay? Always together, okay? When we have travel days, air travel, you'll be wearing your Iona t-shirt, right? Like Aiden is wearing now. That is so you can identify us. We'll be wearing our Iona shirts as well. And then you can easily identify if in an airport we get separated into 2 groups, etc. Right? Because airports obviously are very busy places, lots of potential to get separated. So by all wearing our Iona shirts, it's easy for us to identify one another. On that, make sure you have multiple, okay? Because they're just hot and they get a little bit stinky. And when you have multiple air travel days in a row, it's best to have 2, just FYI.
Highly recommend.
Hang on, Boo.
Oh,
yeah.
hang on.
This one. Unacceptable and adverse behaviour. What we mean by that, okay, is clearly outlined in your conditions of participation, in your communications agreement, in all of those sorts of things that you and your young person are going to sit down and go through and agree to. We will hold people to account. Students are not permitted under any circumstance to undertake an activity that is considered illegal by Australian law or by Indonesian law. If you choose to do that, it says in the conditions of participation that you will be sent back to Australia at your family's expense. I will personally take you to the airport and put you on a plane. Don't do it. Like Boo said, keep Iona out of the paper, keep the trip happy, all right? And then no one will have to experience the judicial system this early in life, okay? And like I said, yep, all sorted.
Yeah.
Fires, okay, we'll give you safety briefings if we need to evacuate places. If we need to gather, we'll let you know when they are. And also this beautiful sign, Jalur Evakuasi, means evacuation route. You guys all understand that, okay? And all the places that we go to that are tourist attractions or the hotels, they'll all have that sign. So we're just going to follow existing emergency procedures. Like Boo said, we've also got the WhatsApp group so we can communicate with each other no matter what, which will make things easier. Child safety is something that we take really seriously. That is another reason you're to remain in pairs, okay? And you're never to leave designated areas without staff approval. We will be checking in with students to see how they're going. Homesickness is very real, and you'd probably be quite surprised when it hits you quite hard. I had a day where I felt really homesick, right? And I'm 37, so it all affects us quite differently. Please talk to us if you're feeling upset or unsafe at any stage, right? Because we want you to have an amazing trip, and if you're feeling upset or unsafe, you can't be doing that. Staff to student, again, in those conditions of participation, we're asking for parents and carers to agree to one-on-one contact between staff and a student if there is a medical safety wellbeing need. So if we're needing to check on a student during the day or the evening because they've been unwell, just authorising that one-on-one contact. And we'll also be keeping a log of that. And of course, if your young person is unwell, we'll be communicating with you as well. Monkeys. Okay. So you guys are all over it. You'll love it. Okay. So we will come into contact with some of the fabulous fauna of Indonesia. Okay. Some of the lovely animals. Now, you're like, why are you talking to us about this? There's a reason, okay? Isn't there, right? So don't touch any of the animals, please. This includes dogs. I don't care how much of an animal lover you are, just don't touch them. Okay, they might want to come and touch you, and that's an entirely separate issue. We're not allowed to feed any of the animals either. Okay, that's strictly prohibited in most places. I know it seems really stupid. Don't provoke the animals. Okay, they are wild creatures. They will defend themselves, and you'll probably come off second best. I hear rabies shots really hurt. When around monkeys, even if you are blind as a bat like moi, don't wear glasses. Right, put them away. Also, hot tip, don't have anything on the outside of your bag because a monkey will jump on you and retrieve whatever that item is, such as sunscreen, and then try and drink it. We will give reminders when we're at places where we're going to interact with animals. Take your hats off, take your glasses off, put all your things away, okay? We'll give you reminders, but you also need to be aware, okay? Because sometimes we might come across something and there's no ability to have forewarned you. Yeah, behave respectfully, remain calm. If a monkey does jump on you, speaking from personal experience, remain calm, okay? Some members of the staff will come and help you, and everything will be fine, right? All you need to do is remain calm. Please don't scream. It will make the situation far worse. Like it says there, if you have come in contact with an animal and you've become injured, even like a scratch, a bite, anything like that, you need to let us know straight away. Right? There are medical protocols we'll need to follow to make sure that, you know, you're going to stay healthy and nothing's going to happen, and a scratch is just a scratch and it's going to be fine. But you do need to tell us so that we can seek medical advice, all covered under travel insurance. And then we'll give you location-specific briefings where there are a high volume of monkeys, places such as the Monkey Forest and Uluwatu Temple as well. And then we're also going to follow all the signs in those locations that give further guidance and advice on interactions with monkeys and other animals. Theft, fraud, ATM fraud, we will be giving the students a detailed brief on this. It is a significant issue all across the world. Obviously, Indonesia is no exception to that. Also, we will be there to support you if the ATM eats your card. There are workarounds for that as well, regardless of whether or not you're a staff member and that happens, or to students. And we'll teach the students and we'll show them, you know, we're at an ATM, look for this, look for that, and then make really smart travel choices, because hopefully this is just one of the many overseas adventures you people are going to have in your lifetime, and these are life skills that you're going to need to know. Again, we ask that, you know, it's very popular, have a little side bag or a bag on your front, that sort of thing. Again, all preventative, common sense measures to try and avoid losing stuff, things getting stolen. And when you leave your hotel room, just have your things packed up. Right? We're not going to go hardcore and do room inspections, but don't leave money or valuables or anything like that out. And on valuables, we're asking that at any one time, you don't carry any more than about 200 Australian dollars equivalent. Okay, there's lots of ATMs where we're going, are highly populated areas, and we'll make sure there's lots of opportunities for us to go to ATMs and that sort of thing. Yep, so you do your own thing with travel cards, whatever you think is best in your individual circumstances. But yeah, just limit the amount of cash you're carrying.
can also exchange Australian dollars, which I know a lot of us did that too over there. So there's lots of different options you can look at.
Money changes, ATMs, all that sort of jazz. Vehicle and pedestrian accidents. So obviously as a school, we'll be travelling to and from the airport. We'll be doing lots of travel while we're over there and lots of different forms of transport as well. Predominantly buses, but especially in Yogyakarta, the traffic conditions and rules are very different here in Australia. So we'll be making sure we're giving you an on-the-ground briefing. Don't cross here, make sure you cross here, don't do this. Once you start walking, keep going. Okay, and all of those sorts of things. We will, of course, as staff, stand on the ends, okay, and cross in small groups while the students become accustomed to this very significant difference in traffic etiquette. No motorbikes are to be travelled upon by any member of our group, staff, student, anyone. No motorbikes ever at all. Hopefully that's pretty clear. And we'll always have first aid kits and that sort of thing with us. Again, pedestrians, just making sure that you're aware there's lots of forms of transport on Jalan Malioboro, Andong and that sort of thing. So they might drive up on the paths and that sort of thing. So you've got to be quite 360 view aware of your surroundings and thinking about the different forms of transport that are operating around you. All right, so it's not just a matter of look left and right, it's left, right, up, down, all around before you go. Okay. Hospitals and health facilities. Boo Haints and I went and did a reconnaissance trip in 2022, just over a year ago. And we went to the facilities, spoke to the staff and determined the level of healthcare provided there. Jogja, super duper happy I'd have my kids there if I needed to any day of the week. Very, very high standard of medical care, 24/7 emergency. There's ambulances available. It's an excellent hospital. And obviously, if we needed to get any sort of hospital treatment, we'd be in contact with you as soon as possible. And a staff member would be with your young person throughout their course of treatment, wherever possible. In Ubud, so that central Bali location, there is a bit of a souped up GP clinic. Okay, it's a bit more than a GP clinic, but not quite a hospital. And so if there's minor ailments, someone needs an IV, that sort of thing, we could take them there. The other option in Bali, because it's such a high tourist area, you can call a GP to the hotel. We can have will if needed, and that's a really good service, again, covered under travel insurance. Okay, and in Kuta, there are international evacuation options in case someone was having a significant illness and or injury. Again, covered under travel insurance, and there's heaps of international level hospitals in Kuta as well if we need to, which isn't far from Ubud. We'll have first aid posts everywhere. We'll have first aid equipment with us. Like it says there, if a student is unwell, but not unwell enough to need medical attention, all right, we might suggest that they have some respite time, you know, maybe call home. One of us will check in on them regularly, make sure they have Hydralyte, something to eat, we'll mother them for a while, okay, and make sure they're all right. If they get worse, we're always going to err on the side of caution. Okay, so if we are unsure whether or not they need medical treatment, we're getting it. Okay? Because that's what I would hope someone would do for my child if they were taking them overseas. Like I said, we'll keep in contact with you wherever possible. So again, that's another reason it's really, really important that we're able to contact home. We'll have a global roaming phone, but sometimes you just want to talk to your parents by yourself as well. So that's why it's another reason it's important that your young person has a phone with either global roaming or an Indonesian SIM card so they can contact home on their terms too, all right? Because they will have access to their phone all the time unless there is a breach of the communications agreement, which you will need to understand and have signed. If you breach that agreement, then there may be a 24-hour exclusion of your phone. If in an emergency you need to contact home, staff will facilitate that with the Iona phone. But hopefully we don't have to get to that. Please, please read through the medical forms. Boo's put an amazing amount of work into those and pack what's on the packing list. I know it seems really silly, but everything on that list is for a reason. So if you pack all that, it'll be sweet. This is something that we will put, it's like an emergency action plan for our young people if there is some sort of issue. Okay, they will carry that with them. It'll be on their little lanyard with our hotel details as well. So if we're separated, they can get back to the hotel. If there's an emergency, then they'll have that on them and they'll know exactly what to do. So again, I'm not going to give you a quiz, all right, and make you tell me all 7 steps, but you'll have it on you. And when we go places, we'll ask you, where's your lanyard? Just a safety measure.
Okay. Do I say it?
Yeah.
Okay. Packing list. We will send this out with the email that has everything. It's the important email. And what we've got here is Christmas is around the corner. So what a great opportunity to tick off some of those items. Maybe it's rupiah, you get some cash or something like that. Or maybe it's some items that you need, your new suitcase or anything along those lines. However, while saying this, we do recommend that you borrow off family and friends. They're wonderful people. You don't need everything brand new. In fact, we recommend going to an op shop and getting some items. Often when you, I guess, go overseas, these hot, humid climates, your clothes don't come back quite as new as they maybe once were, or as washed, say, as we do here in Australia. So I do recommend either going to an op shop, buying some older clothes to take over with you. Definitely don't take your brand new items you got for Christmas. Don't take your brand new shoes. It's likely they're not going to be what they were when they came home, okay, when they first were there. There are laundry services available and recommended. We will go as a group so you can rewash your clothes. So you don't need to take 14 t-shirts, all right? We'll definitely go somewhere where you can wash them. And I've got here in highlighted and bolded, culturally appropriate clothing is essential, especially when we are in Yogyakarta. You will feel so out of place if you're not in culturally appropriate clothing. What do I mean by that? I mean loose clothing. I also mean things below the knee. Okay, below the knee, and also that you're covering your shoulders. A t-shirt is absolutely fine. I do recommend loose clothing. Linen's good to let the air in. It is hot, so you do want to make sure that it's not super tight jeans or anything like that. To make sure that, yeah, you're comfortable, you're culturally appropriate. You will feel better when you're in Yogyakarta and you're not on show. We already stand out as a group of Australians, okay? So it is good to, I guess, be really respectful of their culture, especially because it is predominantly an Islamic country. So they do cover up a lot more. So we will send out the packing list, with our next items. Do you have anything to add, Boo?
If we feel that you are not dressed in a culturally appropriate way, we will require you to get changed.
Yeah.
And we will tell you, go back, get changed. So don't just be like, oh, I'll just bring all the, no, you won't be allowed to participate. If we think that you're not going to be culturally appropriate representing Iona, okay, you've got plenty of warning now to get lovely linen tops that are on at Kmart.
Yeah, that's
good to
right. Good trip. Okay, itinerary, really fun stuff. So I've only put in some dot points. Obviously, it's not the full detail of what we're going to be doing, but you can see that we I'll go to Bali the first day, then the second day we transfer to Yogyakarta. Yogyakarta's pretty much the cultural capital of Indonesia, we like to call it. And it's there that we do these guys will talk a little bit more about the experiences they had in a moment, but that's where you do some gamelan, so some instruments, which we're learning about at the moment in Year 9. Also, we do some batik, which is you do the proper version of it. We've had a bit of a try, but you guys get to go at the traditional thing. We also go to a place called a chicken church. You did not read incorrectly. That is a chicken church, a church in the shape of a chicken. It is awesome. So we get to go there. We also go to Borobudur Temple, which is one of the most beautiful places I think we've ever been. We do an amazing race where it's a bit of a competition along the streets of Jalan Malioboro, which is a famous street landmark, I guess, in Yogyakarta. After that, we go to Prambanan Temple, which is absolutely stunning, beautiful view. Evie was loving it. Beautiful view, eating our dinner, buffet dinner, and then we watch a performance of the Ramayana ballet that night, overlooking the beautiful temple in the background. It's pretty phenomenal. After that, we're going to lots of language lessons throughout, just to make sure we're using the language on the ground as much as possible. And also after that, we have a cooking class where we'll get in the kitchen and cook up some lunch for ourselves. The next day, we're heading again a bit of a language lesson so then we can practice our language skills at an orphanage, chatting to some local students, some young students all the way through, or kids really, all the way through to, I think the eldest we had was about 14 years old. So that was a really nice experience. We also do some pencak silat, which some of you may have tried for our Indonesian day, which is like Indonesian martial arts, which is really cool. After that, we're going to a bit of an adventure to Mount Merapi, which is something we've added into this trip this year. Then after that, we head back to Bali and have a bit more of a different experience there. Checking out a few temples and things like that, Basaki, followed by silver making, which was a really big favourite of these guys as well this year. So definitely keeping that on the agenda. We do a bit of a ridge walk, which is super beautiful up in the rice fields in Ubud. And then we go to Uluwatu Temple and watch a traditional dance, the Kecak dance, which they're learning about now in Year 9 in our classroom. So it's going to be really amazing to share that experience with them in Indonesia, watching it as the sun sets behind them on the Uluwatu beach. And then we head to a beach, Jimbaran Beach for dinner, some seafood dinner, and then the last day, some last minute souvenir shopping, and then checking out, and we're heading back home to you all in Australia. At the moment, this is our indicative payment timeline. So I think we're all up to date, which is awesome in here. 13th of October, we've had that. So our next payment will be a $500 one. We tried to avoid the really hectic months of December and January, as we do know Christmas comes around the corner. So it is a tough time for families. So then we've got our next payment after the November is 500, and then we bump to February, so the 16th will be 12, so 1,250, and our last payment on the 26th of April, and then it should end up being 4,500. Now I do have a things down the bottom, little asterisks. Please note these timeframes and amounts are indicative only, and exact amounts will be dependent on final costings, which we are in the middle of organising and double checking now. So we're almost there, aren't we, to give a final price. So we've had a meeting today. We're just not quite there yet, but we're trying to get that as soon as possible. So we know that this is 100% correct.
We've booked most things.
We have. So it's just a couple of things we need to get. So you're welcome to make additional payments. I know some people already have. If you want to make a lump sum payment, so you just don't have to think about this, we totally understand. We just have some minimum milestones because we need to book things in, and the quicker we book them in and confirm them, the likelihood we'll be able to stick to this price. Obviously, you know, with things, if you leave them, we incur extra payments, those kind of things. If you want to discuss any alternate payments or anything like that, that's something to have a discussion with Tom Harriet, our business manager. You're more than welcome to do so. Or Mr. McHugh, I call him Mr. McHugh, Damien McHugh, our principal as well. So the payment methods, you guys have all done that already, so I'm assuming you know how to. But if you do have any questions regarding that, just send us an email. We'll direct you in the right place. Beautiful. Actions from here. So first thing, this email I keep talking about, it's really important. It's an important email of the process and what we're about to get you to do. So that will be sent out this week. Ensure all PAM details are up to date. That is really important. All your medical things are up to date. Please complete the PAM permission form by the November 20. So this is the one that we talked about before, conditions of participation, communications agreement, and our behaviour expectations. Super important you actually read it. I know it's a lot of information, but do read it so you do understand what you are consenting to as well, and what we expect to. Your young person's passport. Now, this is really important. You need to have at least 6 months on your passport. So I believe from memory, it's January 5th, 2025. It has to be past that point to exit and enter and exit Indonesia. So 6 months left before it expires. So you may be organising a new one or a brand new passport. They do take time. We hadn't, I know last year there was a couple there that we were hit and miss whether they'd come in time. So it's really important. You just do this over the holidays. So that way we know that they're there. You guys are less stressed. We're obviously less stressed as well. And we know we can get you to Indonesia. Again, go to the doctor for vaccinations and sign the doctor's letter that will be attached to the email, also in PAM, and consider the items on the packing list. And also just keep the communication open. If you've got a question, ask us. Even in the classroom, keep asking us as well, guys, because the more we talk about it, the more excited you'll get all of those things too. There's one more slide that I know before you guys come out. So this will be the email you sent. This is the email you get sent. Again, just going through that procedure. One thing I will highlight, I've just read all this before, but one thing I will highlight is the links to upload. So the doctor's letter and the picture of your passport, they actually need to be done on the student's computer. The reason being is because it's connected to our organisation and it doesn't want another organisation outside of it, just to save any, I suppose, nasty connections or something like that. I don't know. Just Michael IT man told me this. Yeah. He said just make sure they get on their student's computer to upload ins and outs. I'm not too sure why, but that's the reason being. Sensitivity, that's what he said, of the documents. So that will be sent out to you. I aim to do it, tomorrow at some point. So keep an eye out in your inbox. If you haven't received it, maybe check your junk email as well, just to make sure that it hasn't arrived in there. Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
Siswa, ayo. Gonna just plug my computer in.
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not for you. So May has made a bit of a PowerPoint with some pictures from this year just to share with you guys to get you excited.
Just watch all the chords.
You can see it. At Evie's snap.
Be good to go.
And over here, so then the people online.
There's so much in there. I know. Too much, to be honest. Oh, I'm like in the way of them. Do we need to say more? Or?
Yeah.
What do we have for?
What are you going to come around here so the guys online can see you too?
Sure. Yeah.
You guys will start.
What do you start with? What do you want to
Maybe a
Yeah.
highlight and a piece of advice.
We were saying before, one of the highlights is the markets, and we loved going in and talking, just speaking Indonesian to all the locals, and everyone looks at you if you're the only white people there. You start speaking Indonesian to them, and then you're just there for ages, and it was so good. And then they usually they'll get cheap prices if you speak Indonesian to them, and it's just so much fun.
After learning the language for 3 years, too, really rewarding being able to go there and speak in their language. It's better than speaking to them in English.
Calling everything mahal. And
Yeah. Everything's expensive.
and then they just laugh at you.
Yeah, don't waste any time. Like, don't feel like you have to have a little bit of a comfort zone. Just do everything, try everything, eat everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If food looks disgusting, it's probably the best one there.
Yeah, if your food looks bad, just eat it. I'm sure it's gonna be good. But yeah, we really enjoyed it. Wouldn't change a lot about it.
Yeah, we all
Great.
loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, best time ever. Best teachers ever. Your kids will be fine. They're amazing. Oh yeah.
What about
Advice
Yeah.
in preparing or
Don't stress too much about the packing list. I did a whole lot of that, and Maya definitely helped me through that. But you can buy stuff when you're over there. It's not like a normal school
most
camp.
of it. We took most of it was on the packing list, and we were set.
Yeah, we were.
Definitely electrolytes. Were a
Yeah.
lifesaver.
Yeah.
But other than that, clothes were pretty good, and then we bought quite a few clothes over there.
Mm.
Yeah, that was.
Anything else?
Good stuff.
Yeah,
don't
definitely leave room in your suitcase because
Don't
come
overpack
back
it.
with so much.
Yeah, do you recommend underpacking, or you've got to carry your suitcase, don't you? So what do you think about that?
I reckon seeing the hotel floor when we were on a travel day trying to get everything back in definitely leaves some space. Backpacks will full to the brim by the end and everything. So yeah, most of the stuff, if you pack light, whatever you don't, if you find you've left something, you can always get it over there.
Do you guys have any questions for either our three beautiful students or either Boo or myself? Beautiful. Yeah.
I just got back from Bali this morning.
Oh wow, you're a great person. You should be up here. Yeah. Yeah.
So they're going to Java.
Yeah.
So right now the monkeypox outbreak.
yeah. So with the monkeypox outbreak, I was reading about the regulations and that sort of thing at the moment. They are temperature testing people. So a lot of the COVID restrictions have been removed in Indonesia now, but with the monkeypox outbreak in certain areas, some of those preventative measures have come back in. So temperature testing people at airports is one of those things. Disinfectant, especially coming back into Australia. Obviously declarations as well. We obviously are going to try and limit, I say this nicely, because monkeypox is spread by contaminated bodily fluids.
Yes.
So hopefully there is not a whole lot of cross contact with body fluids on the trip. That would not be the intention. But we'll also, like we did with COVID restrictions, be keeping an eye out if there are any additional regulations, any additional rules, that sort of thing. Java, when we went on the recon trip, at that point in time, the COVID regulations were actually far stricter and more enforced over there.
Mm.
So their public health measures and those sorts of things, again, they always err on the side of caution. So even at the end of 2022, to get into the shopping centre, we had temperature testing, had to wear a mask, we had to produce our COVID vaccines everywhere, those sorts of things. So Indonesia are very good at implementing preventative measures, and if there's any change in that space in terms of what might be required of us, then we'll be communicating that with you.
And who are flying with the airline?
Virgin.
Yeah, so Virgin
Virgin.
from Melbourne to Denpasar, from Denpasar to Yogyakarta, we're going with Garuda Airlines, and then Garuda back, and then Virgin back
Virgin
again. Yeah.
There's lots of questions.
You mentioned more, are included the next trip, roughly how many, like half or three?
We will actually get that number exact and give it to you guys. You say you've got more of an idea. I would say this time around, maybe 2/3 would be included. It's really important that the students do get opportunity to choose what they want as well, and to, you know, go and have those different meals. Thank you. Those different experiences, like culinary experiences that we do teach about in class that you can't really, I guess, replicate. So that's really cool for them to do that and to barter and use their money to pay and all of those things. So we want to have a healthy amount of that, and also a healthy amount of knowing that they've eaten a good solid meal. And then we don't have to worry as much.
And breakfast every day is provided at the hotel.
Meaning about the students, worry about the
We
students as much.
gave some really great travel advice about taking little snacks with you from the buffet breakfast and in the backpack for the day. And we provide drinking water as well a couple of times a day, to make sure that everyone's obviously as hydrated as possible without the worry of cost. But yeah, and then some of the more adventurous types will come with the staff to little warungs and try local dishes.
Yeah.
And other students, by the end, they wanted to go to Starbucks.
And we don't blame
And
them
that's
for that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
because-
we're not going to stop them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also had Starbucks coffee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coffee's off.
Yeah.
Oh, Puck,
Yeah.
Puck McKenzie, who's not here, he's the one that organised all of that. It's a specialist in group travel, but I cannot for the life of me right now recall the name.
Me either. But we
Yeah.
can get that to you as well, the name
And
of
we
the
did-
insurance.
We did everything we claimed this time, like lost items, some medical expenses, all of that was fine and
Covered.
reimbursed, no worries. So we'll take care of like collecting any evidence and reports and anything like that that's required. If there's an issue.
And then they'll need there's another by food on the plane. Is that already?
So what we would recommend, because we're flying in sort of the late afternoon, early evening, we would make sure there's opportunities for them to eat at the airport. But of course, if they want to bring snacks with them, if they want to purchase food on the airplane, they're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah. And they're welcome to bring like 2 to 3 meals with them if they feel comfortable doing that for the first time. There will be opportunity to purchase, but just so they then have something they're familiar with. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'll have to
We're
find
not
out.
too sure, but we can find that out for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Sid,
How long is the flight?
do you remember, guys?
Like 5.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So around 6-ish there, and then it's quicker on the way home, actually.
And it's about
Yeah.
an hour from Bali to Java. It's really quick, up down. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the moment, arriving, well, they're actually pretty pooped by then. A lot of them did manage some sleep on the plane home. But yeah, we just thought best to maximize our time.
How many kids are going?
Yeah,
31. Yeah.
So 31 students and 5 staff at this time are all penciled in. So at the moment, the staff penciled in Bujak, Boo Haints, myself, Puck McKenzie, and also Ibu Neza, our Indonesian language assistant, who is a native Indonesian person. She's going to come along with us.
Yeah, which is amazing.
It's wonderful.
How do they get to the airport from school?
Yeah, so we meet at school, obviously because they'll be going to school periods 1 through 4. Then we'll put over an announcement, we'll get together, we'll get them on the goal bus. We've chartered a goal bus to the airport and we'll just all travel up together. Like we said, details for where to put their luggage, all those sorts of things. We'll book rooms and resources to make all that happen, and we'll communicate those with the students in due course. Next year, we will be having probably once every 3 or 4 weeks a meeting with the participants as well, and we'll be talking to you about bits and pieces, how to get ready, doing some check-ins, giving you some more information. so there's a bit less culture shock when you arrive.
So it's important, guys, students, to make sure that you do check the daily messages on Simon, because that's where we'll communicate if we are having a meeting. And it's important not to miss those, because you hear all the important details to get ready, and you'll be feeling a little bit nervous and anxious, and that's normal. And we want to support you as best as possible. Yeah.
Everything that was, yeah.
And she ordered a lot.
Yeah.
It's like like
Yeah.
Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Ordering Gojeks on the bus back to the hotel. That was
Yeah, it's good fun.
Be a true indication of doing everything on.
Yeah.
They, oh, right, yeah, so that went for it. They went for it.
Yeah.
And we do take you to the mall. Like was in the clip of riding around on the little scooters, you know, we'll take you to those sorts of places and more traditional markets and that sort of thing. So there's a bit of a mixture of shopping experiences if the students want to participate in them.
Any curfew?
No,
No.
yeah, no, great question. So in the risk assessment, we aren't allowed to go in the ocean, but Boo Haints actually became qualified as a swim teacher so that the students could swim in the pool, because that's a requirement of the school that we actually have a qualified swim teacher. So the students could swim in the pool on the last trip. Not a whole lot of opportunity to do it, a couple of times, but it was really nice when it was a possibility, and you know, why not?
Yeah, when it's a hot afternoon and we've got a few hours,
Yeah, and some students might rest or some might swim or
have options.
do their language booklet, whatever.
And do you recommend a travel card that a young person can have? We went overseas recently and I couldn't find one. It was really hard.
What did you guys use? Yeah.
What did you
I
use?
had I got a travel card from Combank and I just went in and just ordered it like on the app. And then it just came and I got two. So if you lost one, you have option to cancel the other one and everything.
I was using normal debit card.
Yeah, I just had an
Oh, yeah.
ING.
So your bank
yeah.
card worked overseas?
You have to enable it to work overseas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They don't do actual.
Yeah.
right. You can't have it on your phone.
Yeah, card is important, isn't it? Yeah.
Wise card as well, which you can just preload,
Yeah.
like prepaid kind of thing. Yeah, just don't leave it in there.
But yeah, and it's, of course we can give recommendations, but whatever you guys do your research and things, but I mean, what you did sounds good, Maya, as well. And I know ING is what I used, but they're changing their policy that you've got to pay ATM withdrawal fees now.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking at something different as well. So that's what I've used in the past. Yeah. Yep. Yes.
If it's over 30 students, 5-star.
So we were happy with 31.
Yeah, because at 30, it's 4-star.
Yeah.
And we managed to get 31.
Yeah. Thank you.
We pushed hard.
Suitcase on wheels, or backpack on your back.
Suitcase.
Suitcase on wheels, then you can put the backpack on the suitcase and just push it all around.
And it's a little day backpack.
Yeah.
for every day.
Yeah, we had a day backpack to like carry on the plane, and then most of us had like a
Little like satchel kind of bags.
and you just had like
Did
like
you wear that over your clothes or was that?
Yeah.
Over shoulder.
they had like portable chargers and wipes and disinfectant sunscreen and just hydrolytes and stuff like that.
Visas.
Yep, we do. We organise all that. It's included in the price. Yep, and they were really great last time. We just collect all the students' passports, held them all in the one area. Bang! Everyone got their visas. Off we go.
And that's another thing with passports. The students will have them when they need them for the airport process, but then we collect them back. So we will always put them in a safe and have them safe away. Yes, to make sure that we're ready to use them when we need to. Yeah.
What else?
Your favourite?
The only big
Plane
activity,
turned
yeah, it
really
did. We went on like day 2.
Markets.
Markets. I
walked
liked
around
the
for
there was a
hours.
video on there, the gamelan. We got to play. We were there for like an hour. And we just switched.
Maya
on
was a
each-
gun.
Yeah, really fun. And the silver making class. I got my ring that I made.
Markets, walking up and down for hours, talking to everyone.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that was good as well. A lot of good things. Good you
Yeah.
guys. Good
Thanks.
you.
And then we're just checking along. We're staying at different accommodation this time. So in Jogja, we stayed at a beautiful hotel, magnificent breakfast, etc. But it was slightly like it was a bit of a trek, probably a 15-minute journey onto Jalan Malioboro, that main street where all the activities and life is. We got confirmation today from our travel tour person. It's much more likely we're going to be staying in a place on Jalan Malioboro this time. Boo and I have stayed there before. We stayed there on the recon trip. It's more centrally located, so we'll be able to spend more time doing activities rather than traveling to and from. And we had to travel across train lines and all sorts of things. It was great. It was an experience, but just sort of reducing that travel time by foot and then just sort of increasing the fun times. Now in Ubud, the place we stayed, again, a beautiful spot, slightly out of the way, not quite central in Ubud. That has been booked out for our travel date. So we're staying somewhere a bit closer to the centre of town. So yeah, and everyone will be twin or triple shares for students. Yeah. And you will all have input as to the preferences for who you might like to share with.
Beautiful. Students, yeah, do students have any questions?
Just one question, communication with families at home.
Yeah.
Some kids probably won't want to.
We asked, oh, sorry.
Is there any, oh yeah, someone else, one of his roommates.
Yeah.
But do you, like, if we send an email,
yeah,
can we find out?
Yeah, absolutely. We send out updates.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
News is good news.
Yeah, no, news is good news. But no, we send out an update every like 3 or 4 days. Actually, I think we did every 3 days. Yeah, every 3 days, just to let you know what we're doing. Usually students help write a little bit of it too. And obviously if anything's going down, we'll definitely communicate. Usually no news is good news. If you get an update, that's wonderful. Yeah.
And we do ask when we arrive in Indonesia that everyone lets their family know that they are present and well in Indonesia. And then the frequency with which you chat with your family is up to you. But yeah, Boo sent some amazing updates out every few days. So those families that maybe weren't inundated on the photo and communication front, we're still across what you're doing. And you'll have the itinerary as well. So you'll be able to sort of follow along where we'll be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we did all the SIM cards, the teachers went and did it, and then we communicated we're here safe, so everyone was on the same page.
Yeah.
And you weren't having to try and find a provider or anything. We just all went to the same place and did it for the same price.
Oh, so you brought your SIM card over there?
Yeah.
At the
How much is that?
About equivalent of like 40 Australian. Was it?
I thought we got 25.
Oh, okay.
On the data.
Yeah. They
So
probably got
you wouldn't send photos, like just use your Wi-Fi type
Exactly that.
to send photos.
So
I was still sending photos through WhatsApp and stuff,
Yeah.
and we managed to.
Yeah.
find enough, but-
I just, yeah, over messages and everything.
I think
It worked really well.
25 and like,
Yeah,
it's still pretty
I think
we got.
we
more.
highly recommend families have WhatsApp before the young person goes, because that will be our primary means of communicating with each other. And then it will just be really easy for them to send you pictures or I'm in Java, food's good, I'm alive kind of thing. And also we've just had Pat McKenzie let us know regarding the insurance company. The company is Insurango. They're one of the companies that does insurance for groups as large as ours. Wonderful to deal with this year, with lost phones, doctors' fees, etc. All reimbursed, no issues at all. Pardon? The medical is like full comprehensive cover. It's the best coverage you can get. So yeah.
Beautiful. As we said before too, if there are more questions, just feel free, and they might come over the dinner table tonight or wherever, just feel free to ask. Yeah, we have our emails are listed, and also yeah, there'll be more communication coming out via email. Get your young person to ask in the classroom. You guys can ask whenever. Yeah, keep the communication open.
And if you want to stay behind and ask a question that you think might be relevant to your young person or your circumstance, you're welcome to do that. We'll stick around and answer any of those that you have.
Beautiful.
No fun questions? No.
So Tara
Terima
makasih
kasih.
banyak. Thank you so much for coming and for supporting your young person to come to Indonesia with us. We
Yeah.
hope they really enjoy their time.
And massive thanks to these. wonderful
Yay,
women for sharing
terima
their experience.
kasih.